touch on one thing that the amount of preparation that you folks get to do, especially starting with the beginning of December, and if you could speak to the information and the detail work that you get from what we affectionately call the judges' cards, which is basically the concept sheets that the bands get to put together, and you guys get about 3 weeks prior so you can prepare for the parade.
If I could interrupt here on this topic, John, I'd like Larry to speak first, because he was here doing New Year's Day, doing Mummers before I was involved, and I learned from him how to really seriously prepare for this parade. So, Larry?
I think that's why we started getting them to you the beginning of December, is because Larry put a bug in our ear to, to get them out to you.
Yeah, we needed more than a week.
Yeah, that's right.
What I found is that the bands were doing some things. They were growing every year. Their themes were getting a little more sophisticated. They were perhaps introducing music. And I'm not a young person. If you're watching on the screen, you've noticed that I'm not a young person. And suddenly they would start to do cartoon things that the 5-year-olds were watching on TV. I guarantee you, in my home, there's not cartoons on Saturday morning that 5-year-olds are watching. But it was a lovely theme and lovely music, and I had no idea what was going on. And I said, you know, you ought to give me a shot at this and at least let me have a little idea what's coming. So if I don't know the source material, and some of it is very wonderful source material, at least let me give a chance for me to research it. Where did that material come from? Whose material is it? Ah, now I understand what you're doing. Now I understand what the big yellow duck is in the middle of the swan and this, that, and the other thing. Okay, I got a shot at it. So in answer to your question, Gary, and in answer to your question, John, yeah, the judging cards, we don't go in blind. We don't go in and not having any idea what's coming. They tell us a little ahead of time what's coming. And the purpose of that is not to give anything away. The purpose of that is so we can research it and we can be intelligent, that they've devoted something, so many hours and so much time and effort to something, and we can react to it because we know what they're trying to do.
I take the judge's card and I prepare and I color code them with the music and the captains and things, and I have them in a notebook so that in between each group coming on, I have a quick sheet to review before that performance begins that I can reference during the program, which is very helpful.
I know Bob for many years, he used to put together his own cheat sheet with like little theme notes and everything for the whole panel with the years that he judged.
Well, hey, look, it's like what Larry said, you know, we're all coming in from 3 or 4 different activities, 3 or 4 different circuits, nationally, from geographically, we're in different spots in the country. If we can all be on the same page and all understand the thematic material and what songs are going to move that along, like you said, mine, I didn't just have the cards out. I did just put little notes, like they're going to play. You know, I would list like 2 songs. I would list the thematic material, one thing about the costume, and yeah, after I did my research, like Larry said, we're there that day, I then can just like look right down and reference, oh, that's right, that's these guys. And also, to be honest with you, it's very important that we had that material and put down on our notes and had it next to where we put our scores, so that when we are doing a comparison analysis, I can remember, okay, oh, what did this group do? Oh, that's right, this was their theme, these were their colors. Okay, then they belong here and these guys belong there. And it's a great reference point for recollection also. It's great to prepare, and it's also great on the show day that we have those detailed notes that will say, all right, that's right. The group I saw 14 groups ago compares to this one, and how do they compare? And it gives me a good reference point. That's always why I did it on my sheets. Right.
Yeah, I pretty much did the same thing with how you how you check mark what you have read prior to judging the events, and then when you see it and you say, okay, there were about 13, 14 bullet points, and they only hit 6 of them, and you go back and look, and then you try to make an evaluation based on the other groups that they're competing against, and over time you get a good sense of what the descriptors are trying to tell you as a judge.
I know that I have my notepad, I have the group's name, I have the show title, and then on the way, my wife and I would do this thing like when we go out to a restaurant, I'll drive, and she'll read the menu to me. And so the first time we're doing it, I'm like, here, want to read something to me? So we had about a 2.5-hour trip. Through our trip, we were living in New York at the time. And, so I'm driving, and she's just reading, all the judges' cards to me on the way down. And it's just awesome to have, and I think the guys do a great job, and it's even gotten tighter over the last couple of years, where there's not as much fluff. It's more about, what they're trying to do and not tell us what they're doing. So, we do have a little bit of the imagination, but we are prepared, and I do thank Larry for, pushing this many years ago, because, it just makes our job that much easier and that much more fun, knowing what we're, getting into.
And in addition to the judges' cards, I've always benefited from the preseason clinic that has been a webinar, and also the day of the day of time in the judges' room as we prepare to go out onto the street. I think we can combine all of that, and it's a well-rounded educational direction for all of us.
As the chief judge for the parade, I can tell you that if the cards started with the string bands, they're now in all of the divisions. And they have a luncheon that happens usually around the 30th of December, a couple days before the parade. And the brigades will hand out those judging cards, and the string bands will hand them out, and the comics. And everybody grabs them and reads them right on the spot. They're so excited to get a hold of it and dig into the research of it. So it's helped all of the divisions that I've worked with, and I think it helps the audience too. I really do, because it helps everybody, the bands and the judges, be more organized and reactionary and analytical. I think it just works.
Another topic I wanted to bring, because I know the bands focus on, and I constantly make mention of this, the bands focus on the first prize show and how great the first prize show was and this, that. But one of the things, especially in the years that I've been there, is how entertaining all 16 bands are. Like a trophy doesn't validate some of the performances that these bands put on. And that we get to watch, and how really great a show it is from 1 through 16.
A disheartening, I will say, there is a minor disheartening part about the day. 12 years in a row that I judged that parade, every time 15 bands were losers. And they weren't. They were not losers. There were incredible performances. Those top 10, 11, it goes all the way down now. The programs have improved so much. And I know that so much emphasis is put on the winner, and it happens in all competitive activities. It's not unique to the mummers. But there is only one winner. But there were 16 great performances that we got to see. And I walk away feeling great about the fact that I experienced this day of great performances, and then realized that the performers are like 15 of them didn't win. And I hope they don't think that their season is a failure because they come in 2nd through 15th.
I remember the first time that I judged it, and I was amazed at every program that came down that street. And just when you thought there was one that couldn't outdo the one that preceded them, there was one that came out and did it better. And by the end, like you said, with 15 groups that you just said, wow, you could flip a coin on. And I was so impressed by it that that's what really brought me into being watching the moments from the way I started just being on the sideline, watching it with the Light Brigade.
Well, one of the things that I have to reflect on again, and this is over a long period of time, is some of the shows back at the beginning. Okay, I would say to myself, okay, that's a very basic show. That's something. It's perhaps a little more simplistic. These were the good points about it. Here are the things they could improve on. And then if I just fast forward, which I can do now from the comfort of my kitchen here, and I'm saying, and then I would look at that same band 5 or 6 years later and say, my goodness, what have they done? This show that they're doing now 5 or 6 years later could have maybe been in the top 2 or 3 shows. The improvement across the whole spectrum has just been amazing. What they've done, the sophistication of what they've done, their attention to detail, everything about it has just grown so much over the years. Somebody said way earlier in this conversation, it's this amazing thing that they have going on in Philadelphia, and I wish it was a national broadcast that would be on one of the networks that everybody could see this, because I'm certainly thrilled about it.
And the other thing that's so important about the Mummers is it's not even just the string bands, which are incredible, but that day starts with a lot of excitement with all the community groups and the wench brigades and the fancies and the funnies and what goes on stage at night. I saw that on tape, and it was incredible to watch it on television at night. So there's so much more that meets the eye when you come to see the Mummers in Philadelphia on that day.